are tired all the time, but your business is still messy, the problem is not hard work. The problem is no systems. Burnout does not come from doing too much, it comes from doing things without structure. Most owners are not exhausted because the work is difficult. They are exhausted because their mind never rests. Hi, I am Rashmi Joshi, born into business and obsessed with systems. We bought a 25-year-old manufacturing business, automated it and scaled it. Now I help entrepreneurs do the same with their business with the magic of systems. If you are tired all the time, but your business is still messy, the problem is not hard work. The problem is no systems. Most people think systems mean boring rules, files, and complicated processes. But systems are actually a clear way of working, so you don't have to think about the same things every day. If you are making the same decisions again and again, you don't have a workload problem, you have a systems problem. Without systems, you repeat decisions, you repeat mistakes, and you repeat stress. With systems, work flows. You stop reacting all day and start designing your business instead of fighting fires. Burnout does not come from doing too much, it comes from doing things without structure. Here's something no one says openly. Most business owners already know they need systems. They don't avoid systems because they are lazy or careless. They avoid systems because building them feels uncomfortable. When work is already pending, slowing down feels risky. When customers are already waiting, stopping to think feels irresponsible. When your team is already confused, writing things down feels like extra work. So owners tell themselves, I'll do this once things settle. But things never settle. There is also an emotional reason systems feel difficult. Systems force you to see how much is actually depending on you. They expose gaps you were unknowingly filling every day. They show you that the business is not as independent as it looks. Avoiding systems feels easier than facing that truth. When we bought our manufacturing business, I was pregnant with my second child. My older daughter was just 5 years old. She needed time, presence, and routine, not business explanations. At the same time, I was stepping into a factory that was run in a very old school way. Things worked, but they worked because one or two people remembered everything in their head. I knew I could not be present all the time, not because I didn't care, but because my life didn't allow it. I needed time with my children. I didn't want my life to shrink into only running a business. That's when I realized something. Systems were not about efficiency for me. They were about survival. I could not afford a business that needed me to remember things, chase people, or decide the same things every day. From day one, my question was simple. If I'm not here tomorrow, how will this still run? And that question shaped everything. How work was written, how instructions were given, how follow-ups were removed instead of added. Systems were the only way I could be present in my life and still build a serious business. There is a difference we don't talk about enough. Hard work keeps a business running. Structured work lets it grow. Hard work means you jump in wherever things break. Structured work means fewer things break in the first place. Hard work feels productive. You're always busy, always needed. Structured work feels slow at first. You're thinking instead of doing, designing instead of reacting. But only one of these gives you mental peace. Most owners are not exhausted because the work is difficult. They're exhausted because their mind never rests. Systems are not about reducing work. They are about reducing mental noise. I often meet business owners who say, yes, it's a bit chaotic, but it's manageable right now. And they're not wrong. Today it is manageable. They know their customers, they roughly know what is pending, their team knows what to ask, whom to ask when confused. But the problem is not today. The problem is the day something changes. The day orders suddenly double. The day two customers want the same thing at the same time. The day one key employee takes leave or worse, quits. The day a client escalates. That's when chaos that felt manageable quietly turns into panic. When volume is small, memory works. When patterns are limited, intuition works. But memory does not stretch. Intuition does not multiply. Growth exposes what was never defined. Systems are not built for calm days, they are built for pressure, absence, and change. Chaos always feels manageable until the day it demands structure. Everything feels calm until one person walks out and takes the entire way of working with them. Your phone is quiet, no fires, no escalations. But ask yourself this honestly. If one person didn't show up tomorrow, would the business move the same way? In many businesses, stability is an illusion. There is usually one person who quietly holds everything together. There is a kind of tiredness that has nothing to do with physical work. It comes from holding things in your head. Things that are not written, things that are not defined, things that only you remember. Pending follow-ups, unspoken rules, exceptions you adjust silently. You're not doing these things actively, but your mind is carrying them all the time. That is why even quiet days feel heavy. Systems don't just organize work, they organize your thinking. Before systems, businesses depend on memory. After systems, they depend on clarity. Before systems, people hesitate. After systems, people decide. Nothing magical changes overnight. The work stays the same. What changes is how much thinking it needs. Let me show you what no systems looks like in real life. I was sitting across from an interior designer in her office. Mood boards on the wall, samples on the table, her phone was face down, still vibrating every few minutes. She turned it over and showed me WhatsApp messages from her team. Ma'am, should we order the laminate today or wait? Client is asking if polish should be matte or semi-gloss. What should I say? The vendor is here. Which address do I give him? None of these were emergencies, but every question stopped her mid-thought. Before systems, this was her normal. Even when she sat to design, part of her mind stayed alert, waiting, anticipating, bracing. She told me I can never fully sink into my work. I'm always half available. We defined clear ways of working. Who decides finishes? What gets confirmed before ordering? What gets communicated without asking her? A week later, she messaged me, something feels odd. My phone is quiet. And I finally finished a design without interruption. Not relief, something deeper. She said, I didn't realize how tense my body was all day. I feel lighter, like I got my mind back. A manufacturer walked me through the shop floor. Machines running, workers moving, everything looked busy. But every 10 minutes, someone came looking for him. Sir, this order goes with standard packing or export packing. Sir, can we use last batch material or open a new roll? Sir, delivery is promised for Friday or Monday. Before systems, his day was exactly this. Constant interruptions, same questions, different people. By evening, he was drained, not from work, from thinking. He told me, I thought this is what leadership is. But by night, I had no patience left for my family. There was no fixed way of handling common situations. Everything lived in his head. We defined those situations once. Packing rules, material usage rules, delivery commitment rules, same work, same people. But now, decisions didn't need him. A month later, he said, I still work just as hard, but I am not mentally dead by evening. Then he paused and added, I had started thinking something was wrong with me. Turns out my brain was just overloaded. Now I can think where to get more orders from. I can focus on building a vision for my company. A homegrown skincare brand owner came to me once. For 3 years, her skincare business felt easy to hold. Orders came through Instagram and WhatsApp. She packed them herself in the evenings. She remembered names, preferences, little notes from past conversations. When someone suggested systems, she smiled and said, You're still small, I can manage. Then one reel took off. At first, it felt thrilling. Orders doubled, then tripled. Her phone kept buzzing, and for a moment, that felt like success. By the third day, the excitement thinned into restlessness. She found herself scrolling through messages, trying to remember what she had already handled. Had this order been packed? Did this customer pay for express delivery? Did she promise Monday or Tuesday? Boxes started piling up around her at night. She packed late, replied to messages half asleep, woke up anxious. A few parcels went out wrong. A few customers followed up, and slowly a quiet fear settled in. If this is what growth looks like, how much more can I handle? She didn't need a big overhaul, she just needed the business to stop living in her head. We started setting simple systems for this. Orders moved into one simple tracker. She marked a clear status for every payment. Delivery timelines stopped changing with every conversation. Customer replies followed one clear format. Nothing became robotic, nothing lost its warmth, but it was more systemized. 2 weeks later, the orders were still coming, but the chaos wasn't. She slept through the night again. She packed without panic. She responded without second guessing. When she spoke about it later, she said softly, "I thought systems were for big brands. I didn't realize they were for people who wanted to grow without breaking." This is what no systems looks like. Not chaos, not laziness, just capable people asking questions that should have been answered once. And owners carrying weight they were never meant to carry alone. Systems are not about control, they are about freedom. Freedom from repeating decisions, freedom from constant thinking, freedom from being the only brain in the business. Burnout doesn't come from doing too much, it comes from doing too much without structure. Follow this series. In the forthcoming videos, I will tell you how to build systems step by step so your business can run even when you step away.